So, guys, I apologize from the beginning. I mean, it's always better to to get started apologizing when it's the first session. This is basically one man army where I'm trying to manage all the controls of both the live broadcast, but also hopefully asking relevant questions to you guys, right? So I hope it will be great. So when we started thinking about the finishing line to do that as a webinar, it is basically a follow-up on last year we did Learn With Us about offset. Because I think there's a lot of people that are only looking into to the printing side of it. And actually, I think that finishing side to some extent is maybe more important. I take that you agree on that, right?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So from our side, please,
no,
yes.
No, continue, Patrick, please.
So of course, our business is mainly the finishing business. So for us, it's more interesting the post press equipment, but of course in connection with our partners, printer partners. Yeah.
And what do you guys work with in your daily operation when you're not TV stars?
So my name is Patrick Treyer. I'm sales director at Hunkeler. I'm responsible for the Swiss market, for UK market, and also for market introductions, as for example the Docutrim we will present in a few minutes.
Okay, and you, Dominik?
Yes, my name is Dominik Scheidegger. I'm the head of product management at Hunkeler, and in this role, I'm also responsible for the Docutrim itself.
Okay, and now you already mentioned that we're going to talk about the Docutrim. I think a lot of people are considering Hunkeler a company that only do web-based finishing. But as I said to you, Patrick, when you look back at history, Hunkeler has a long history in cut sheet finishing as well, right?
Yes. I was not working for Hunkeler at this time when they built and sold the first sheet finishing machines. But perhaps Dominik can tell us a bit more about these machines we produced and sold in the past.
Yes, maybe it started in the 1980s or 1970s already. Hunkeler has been a supplier for cut sheet finishing modules and cut sheet finishing, especially for folding machines, and was a supplier also for MBO. And out of that MBO business, they decided to design also new equipment. That means special equipment which helps to convert also products to more marketing direction with special features, etc. And therefore that business grew up then in the 80s and in the 90s. But so around 2000 they decided then also to concentrate on web finishing more. And then they went off more from the cut sheet market. And but nowadays, yes, we are coming back, but a little bit in another field, in the inkjet market, more or less, also a little bit in the B2 market then later on. But actually, yes, it is a more or less a re-entry for us.
And if you look at from a technical perspective, is it difficult or very different from how you do it in web-based finishing? I mean, of course, there's a difference in how you do things, but I mean, is it a big challenge to get things going?
No, because also in the web, we are coming from the roll, of course, from the web, and then going to the, as example, to the cutter, and from there on, there we have cut sheet business. Yes, absolutely. All what is processing behind the cut will be cut sheet, and therefore we have a lot of experience, of course. And also for the new Docutrim, we are using more or less same tools as we use it in the web business.
Fantastic.
As the perforation knives and cutting knives, etc.
And I mean, you also, when you talk about the inkjet business, actually the Docutrim was, I think the first time I saw it was when Canon introduced the IX 300 series. And I said to Patrick the other day when we were talking about the event wrongly that I thought it was exclusively for the Canon series, but it's not exclusive for the Canon series. But that is where you started like reintroducing and getting Hunkeler back to the cut sheet business, right?
Yes,
We
correct.
started inline versions together, inline cooperation together with Canon. The Docutrim is also offline available, so it can be used after any printer. And of course, we are also free to connect with other printer partners.
And I take also that when Hunkeler decide to invest and innovate within this with this areas, because you either know or have expectations that also the cut sheet finishing market will be interesting in a future perspective, of course. I mean, with all the, everybody knows that there's a tremendous focus on inkjet these days, and I think more and more vendors are doing both web and cut sheet devices, right? So that is also, I think, one of the reasons why this is, of course, interesting to talk about.
Yes. About that point, I will show later on a slide. Yeah, why we got into this sheet finishing business and what are the advantages of our partners, of our vendors. Yeah, so this is mainly that we have good connections, partnerships with printer partners, with many of them, and of course we have a worldwide distribution. Which of course will also then supply and distribute this product. And many of our customers are running now with roll to roll, with web finishing, and of course many of those customers are now also going into the cut sheet business.
Fantastic. I think that it's time to get started. You have prepared a presentation. I also know that we have, of course, a case study film that you have made with a customer, Swiss customer, which we will also see. And there's a few technical issues for people on LinkedIn. I can see that the stream is not starting. So while you get started with your presentation, I will be listening to what you say, but I will also see if I can solve that technical issue while you are talking about this. So do you want me to bring up your slide now on the screen and then you take it from here?
Yes, please.
I can't wait. So thank you very much, both of you. And you just let me know when to start the film, right? Yeah, okay, great.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, so welcome to the presentation of Hunkeler Docutrim. First of all, I would like to introduce the company in brief. So this year we celebrated our 100-year anniversary. Hunkeler is an owner-managed company in the third generation, and we are based in Switzerland, in Wicon. It's in the Midlands, and we are here since 1922. We are a pioneer and the world market leader in the digital production print finishing solutions. And we introduced first machines, first line in 1982. So we have also 40 years experience in the digital print finishing. We have a really strong market position with over 7,000 installations worldwide. So our portfolio is from roll-to-roll productions. The first one here, so it's printed and then back on the roll. We have roll-to-stack solution, print, buffer. Then we can do several processes here. We can do folding, merging, cutting, etc. And then stacking at the end. We have here a typical folding line. Roll to fold with dynamic punching and perforation. We have roll to continuous fan folding solutions. We are also flexible which processes we are doing in between printing and fan folding. And then we have also our book solutions, which are also well known on the market. So this is now a picture of Docutrim. This is the first machine. With this machine, we enter in the new segment of the digital sheet finishing. So here a short update just to show you the potential we see with inkjet systems in the B3, B2 format, and you can also see continuous feed. So when we are here B2 format, you can see what we expect, how many systems, presses will be installed in 23, 24, 25. Then here for cut sheet, you can see there is also enormous growth we expect during the next years, and that's why we develop this Docutrim to take part of this business in future. So that means the inkjet cut sheet printer installed base is growing fast. The cut sheet printers are getting faster, more versatile, good print quality. Yeah, so we are flexible in the media on what we print. So we can also, of course, work with offset coated stock. Since this is possible now, yeah, the possibilities in the past, I think, were not good enough to enter in this market. But now, as we can cover most of the demands of our customer, it's the right time to present, to launch this machine. And we hope that you will join also our Hunkeler Innovation Days early spring next year, where you will see several of those solutions. Then a big advantage is, of course, that we have good conditions good relations to the partners, to the printer partners. Yeah, there are some of them supplying our equipment together with their presses. We have cooperation with all major printer partners, good relations, and of course also the customers. The customer are, many of them are same, of course. We also enter in a new field of customers, but we have many known customers which also invest now in cut sheet solutions. So about the product, the Docutrim can be used offline with a pile feeder or inline with a printer. These are the two main configurations. When using the Docutrim offline, it's connected to the sheet feeder PFA 52. So customer can process all his sheets from multiple printing systems without connections to it, so it's completely independent from the printer. He can work, of course, process paper from digital and offset presses. With this feeder, of course, the variety of formats and layouts is larger than if it's connected, than when it's connected with a printer, which normally print one main format. Also, the speed offline can be higher, depends on the printer you have, but it's faster than the printer in the market at the moment. So this is also an advantage. You can run the machine at full speed when fed with the PFA 50. The inline solution, we have installation with i300, IX 3200 from Canon. The advantage is the possibility of a high quantity of small production patches. So this can be 10, 20, less or more copies in a batch. It's online, and the reaction, the customer's order is of course quite fast, as the entire system is inline and the products are printed and afterwards trimmed, cut, what else, in one line in the same step. So time to market from the orders from customer is extremely fast. These are the two layouts of the machine. It's about 2 meter 70 by 5 meter 50, and then it depends, of course, of the length of the printer, or if you have the pile feeder, then it's about 3.5 meter by 5.5 meter. So now we will show a case story from a customer in Switzerland that this customer will explain about why he had chosen the Docutrim, which product he's running, etc., and also about his experience with our company during the sales and installation phase of the.
Fantastic.
So please, you can now start the video.
I will, 100%.
Wir sind ein mittelständisches Familienunternehmen und feiern, sage und schreibe, dieses Jahr 125 Jahre Jordi AG. Damals, 1897, hat mein Urgroßvater, Urgroßvater die Firma gegründet und in einem alten Rossstall die erste Druckmaschine reingestellt. Das war der Beginn einer großen Geschichte der Jordi AG, die ich mit meinen 3 Brüdern in der 5. Generation leiten. Wir glauben an Print und verfolgen deshalb einen klaren Printfokus in einer digitalisierten Welt. Wir haben 4 Bereiche. Erstens hochwertige Drucksachen mit Veränderungen und allen Varianten, die man dann noch dazu produzieren kann. Zeitschriften, Mailings und runden das Ganze mit unserer Online-Druckerei prinzessin.ch, die auch als eigener Brand fungiert und uns auch ganz viele Türen öffnet, schweizweit. Wir bedienen NPOs, Agenturen, also kreative Organisationen, kulturelle Organisationen, Verbände, Verlage und KMUs. Zusammengefasst Kunden, die an Print glauben und dessen Wirkung ganz neu entdecken wollen. Wir arbeiten seit 4 Jahren mit Hunkeler zusammen und erleben ein Miteinander, das auf unsere Bedürfnisse eingeht. Die Diskussionen erfolgen lösungsorientiert und entscheidend aus unserer Sicht ist die Problemlösekompetenz von Hunkeler. Die Qualität und Erfahrung im finnischen Bereich hat uns sehr überzeugt und auch als Schweizer Hersteller schätzen wir diese Nähe sehr. Gerade im Mailing-Bereich sind wir auf Qualität und Stabilität der Anlage angewiesen. Und die Integration der Finishing-Straße mit unserem Inkjet-Drucksystem erlaubt uns im Format SRA3 beidseitig individualisiert zu drucken, zu schneiden und zu perforieren. Das erlaubt uns beste Inline-Anwendungen für Einzahlungsscheine, Gutscheine, Coupons und datengetriebene Kampagnen. Unsere Hauptanforderung war die Stabilität der Anlage und die damit verbundenen Produktionsprozesse. Wir haben auch damit bezweckt, dass wir mehrere Produktionsschritte zusammenlegen konnten und so effizienter werden konnten. Effizienzsteigerung kombiniert mit Stabilität. Genau das haben wir uns vorgestellt. Ja, im Mailing-Bereich können wir so nahezu alle Formen der Individualisierung kombiniert mit Perforation umsetzen und das in einem Arbeitsschritt und auf höchstem Qualitätsniveau. Also individualisiertes Drucken, Perforieren und Schneiden. Und aus unserer Sicht ist das eine Voraussetzung, um Schlagwort Programmatic Printing anzubieten und somit Print hochindividuell und wirkungsvoll den Empfänger in seinem Bedürfnis und Geschmack anzusprechen. Die Zusammenarbeit mit Hunkeler haben wir sehr geschätzt und positiv erlebt. Das Projekt wurde sauber aufgegleist, mit uns koordiniert und schrittweise auch umgesetzt. Insbesondere die Kommunikation in der Projektführung war maßgeblich für den Erfolg des Projektes verantwortlich. Und zum Schluss wurden auch unsere Leute sehr gut im Handling des Docutrims instruiert und geschult. War spitze.
So we are back. That was a great story. So, but let's talk about that a bit later. I think you have more to show, right?
Yes, please. So I hope you got a good impression out of this video, yeah. And I will now show you more features, functions, and benefits of the Docutrim.
Fantastic.
We will start here with a short video so that you get a short overview technical wise, and afterwards I will explain the different modules of the Docutrim.
It is running, so maybe you should explain a little bit about what we see, Patrick.
It's a bit fast. But
Okay. It's because you had like several screens.
perforating, scoring, and trimming. Here you can see the different layouts of stacking. Then here we do the offset if needed for the stacking, for the jobs. We can build stacks with a height of maximum 230 millimeters. And in the output, we can run 1 up or 2 up. So this was a short overview, and now I will go into the details. We can see here the line. It's built mainly with the pile feeder I already mentioned. Then we are running into the transfer unit. Here is also the operator panel placed with a setup wizard to set the machine up really fast. Then we have 2 of the so-called dynamic multiprocessor. Here we are doing the perforating, the edge trim, center trim, gutter trim, etc. Then we are running into the sequencer, where then the sheets are led to the left side, and then we are going into the second dynamic multiprocessor. We do exactly the same here, perforating, edge trim, center cut or gutter cut. Then we have the separator unit, and at the end the stacker with a delivery belt. So here, of course, we are doing the separation. When we have a 2-up output, or we can also do only the separation for a job when we have only a 1-up out. So in this sketch, I can explain you how the Docutrim works in brief. So we are coming here from the left side with the feeder entering into the machine, and here the first station we are doing the cutting. We can see it here with the scissors. We are doing the cutting in the length direction, and we are doing the perforation. Then paper is led around the corner 90 degrees. We are entering in the second dynamic multiprocessor. Then we are doing here edge trim, gutter cut, edge trim, and these perforations here. Interesting is the perforation it's only a sequence, it's not through the whole page. We can perforate dynamic in both directions. Then here at the end you see the output. We can do, of course, offset of the chops when stacking. Then on the next page, where you see more the technical data, we can run with a max speed of 11,500 sheets per hour. This depends, of course, on the sheet site, also on the format, how we run it through the Docutrim. Paper height is 60 to 250 grams per square meter. Stack height is maximum 230 millimeter, and edge trim we can do 6 to 40 millimeters. The gutter cut, we have options of 6, 8, 10, 12 millimeters. These are always the same knives, so you can fast switch from 6, 8, 10, 12 millimeters. Then the sheet format, the input size, the minimum size is 280 by 152. The max size is 520 by 520 millimeters. The output size depends if you're running 1 up or 2 up. 2 up it's 48 by 105, and 1 up it's 148 by 148. The maximum output is 520 by 520. So you can see here the flexibility when you are running offline is of course much larger than when you are running inline with a printer. But also the demands of course are different of customers running inline or offline. So about the sheet feeder, this runs from formats from 530 to 720. This format range is larger than we can run through the Docutrim. This is of course not specially developed, this element for the Docutrim, that's why. This feeder can be fed with trolleys, so we can feed in trolleys. Some printers print and stack directly on those trolleys. Then you can just insert a new trolley and do not have to move the paper stack manually from another trolley or from a table into the machine. This element is of course completely integrated within the Docutrim, within the control system, completely integrated into the process. The transfer unit connects the flat pile feeder with the printer. Also, it contains the interface, the graphical user interface, the 22-inch touchscreen, and optionally we can have cameras or code readers in the Docutrim. So the code readers are optionally the cameras. I will explain later why they can be used. So we are doing the setup of the entire line of this touchscreen. It's a setup assistant. You will be asked everything what is important to set up the machine. And for manual adjustments, you get out exactly the value on which axis, which value you have to set up manually. So the two core elements of the Docutrim are the dynamic multiprocessors. There is at the in-feed an aligning section. Then we can do 6 perforations in the vis. And we can do edge trim, gutter cut, and center cut of the sheet. In the first dynamic multiprocessor, we can have two. We can run 3-up production. That means we have 2 center cuts, and if needed, 2 edge trims. And of course, we can do also perforations. All the 6 perforation while running 3-up, 2-up, or 1-up. So then really unique on our machine is that we cut and do the perforation always in longitudinal direction. This is a benefit that we do not have the so-called perforation comps, or how they are called, so we can perforate completely dynamic. We can switch them on and off one or several times on one sheet which is processed. We can see here there is the dynamic multiprocessor 1, and the second one we can do here in longitudinal direction, the perforation, and we lead it around the corner, and again we can do also here in the running direction of the paper, the perforating. The big advantage is that this can be done this can be perforated dynamically in both directions, this direction and then also after the corner into this direction. The knives and the perforation units, we use them also in our so-called Gen 8 modules. So we have a lot of experience, long time of experience in perforating and trimming on the machine. So this helps, of course, and is a huge advantage when we enter in this new market. So this is after the first EMP, we have the sequencer. This is to lead in a 90-degree, to lead the paper 90 degrees into the second dynamic multiprocessor. It's the interface to connect these two modules. In planning is also that we can connect after this first multiprocessor. I'm going back one slide, that we can run straight through in another in another equipment, for example, a booklet maker, etc. What else? So it's planned to develop different interfaces, and this will be done, of course, simultaneous with a project. When we have a demand from a customer for certain interfaces, then we will discuss it together and define what we can do, in which time frame we can develop such interfaces. Then after the dynamic multiprocessor, we are running into the separator. Here we do the alignment and the offset. Offset when we need the job separation within the stack, or when we are processing 2-up. In the stacker, we can stack with a height up to 230 millimeters. We can run 1-up or 2-up. And really important is the high stack quality for further steps, as for example perfect binding, etc. it's important that the quality of the stack is really accurate. So the delivery belt has a length of 1.2 meters. It's a capacity of 6 A4 stacks. So that means about 30,800 sheets into up production with short edge feet. Of course, most of the customer will not run that much copies in one single job. Most of the customer, of course, are running mid or smaller batches, but this is just to show the capability also of this delivery belt of the stacker. So then some details about the applications. Here is important to understand the difference between long edge feed and short edge feed productions. So long edge feed, when this is the paper flow direction, there is the long edge feed in front, and here we run with short edge feed. This allows us different cutting and of course perforating patterns. There is a limitation when you're running through the machine because the paper needs to be guided, aligned through the machine, and there we have to consider a ratio, a sheet size ratio from 1 to 1 to 1 to 2. That means the width can never be longer than twice the height of the paper. According to this rule, we need to run the sheets long edge feed through the machine or short edge feed through the machine. So here are some examples. We start here with an SRA4, and we are doing just trimming. This is here the input direction. We are doing in the first dynamic multiprocessor, we cut away in lengthwise these edges, and then in the second one, these edges on this side, and the result is a trimmed 4-edge trimmed A4. We can run this short edge feed through the machine or long edge feed through the machine. Now, this is what I explained with the side ratio. If we would cut here this A4 in the middle, then we would not have anymore the ratio from the side lengths of 1 to 2. That means if I feed the paper long edge feed here, we have no problem when I trim it here in the middle. Then we still have on both sheets, then after trimming, the side ratio of 1 to 2, and we can lead and align the sheets properly in the Docutrim. This is the same here for SRA3, also with the trim of all edges. We can run in short edge feed or long edge feed. And here we are running with a A4, and we are cutting it into 2 A4 into 2 A5 sheets. So the input here is also short edge feed inside. Then we are trimming here the edges on 2 sides. Then in the dynamic multiprocessor 2, we are cutting the edges and do also the center trim, in this case a gutter cut, and we get out 2 stacks A5. On this side, we are doing the center trim or the gutter cut in the first dynamic multiprocessor, and you get out then 1 stack of A5. So here you have an output of a 2-up, of a 1-up. This depends, of course, also how you enter in the machine, short edge feed or long edge feed. According to this, you get then the output 2-up or 1-up. Here we added also the perforating. So the treatment of the sheet is the same concerning edge trim and gutter cut. And here we add perforations. Here in the first dynamic multiprocessor, we perforate completely the whole length. In the second multiprocessor, we perforate just here a small sequence. And in the second example, you can see that also in the input in the length direction, we are perforating only a short sequence. And then in the second dynamic multiprocessor, we are doing a perforating over the entire page. So we are completely free concerning the pattern of perforating on all these sheets and in both directions. So this is an example how we can cut A4 sheets into 4 A5 sheets. We get here also the output is also a 2-up. And here an example, it's the same if we cut a B4 into 4 A6 sheets. So this was more or less the possibilities of the Docutrim. Of course, if you have questions, if you're interested in a Docutrim, then best is if you contact us, if you let us know exactly what you want to do, what is your input, what is your output, because in between this rough description, there are, of course, many possibilities of running 2-up, 3-up, perforating, edge trim, etc. And of course, development is not standing still. So we are working on, of course, always we do improvements, and we will also add some other modules to the Docutrim. One of those is in the in-feed of the Docutrim to add a cross-cutter. We are able then to run also B2 productions, because with B2 it's also the side ratio a big issue, and that's why we do then with the cross cutter one or several cross cuts before we lead then the cut pages into the Docutrim to get here as many possibilities of cutting, stacking, or perforating patterns as we want to have. Then we are also working on interfaces for third-party supplier equipments as booklet makers, etc. And also on a feeder with a sheet overpass so that we can run combined inline or offline productions. So as a short summary of our Docutrim, this line is mainly for mailing products, transaction documents, and of course, more and more also for the graphic to run graphic art products. The main functionality at the moment is cutting. That means edge trim, center cuts, chip out, dynamic perforations, and stacking. And normally, of course, you run smaller or medium productions runs, but of course, it is made for 2 or 3 shift operation where you can, of course, also run large batches with this machine. So there are absolutely no quality issues when the machine is running 24 hours. So with this equipment, you can increase your efficiency in the cut sheet processing. You have a really short job cycle time, and you can react faster to the orders of your customers. the machine is individually expandable. Of course, always is best if you keep it right from the beginning as you need to. But if later on you want to add a booklet maker or other interfaces, then of course this will be possible also. And last but not least, of course, is the variety of formats you can run through the machine. It's of course higher when you're running offline. Inline, a bit limited to the printer, but as I explained, we are working on a bypass in the pile feeder so that the machine can be connected to a printer inline, but it's also possible to feed it offline. So now I hope you got a good impression of our Docutrim, and if you have some questions, then please feel free to ask them now.
I mean, Patrick, thank you very much. I think it's almost impossible to have questions when you have been so thoroughly going through the machine, right? So, but I have a few questions anyway, because I mean, I appreciate that you can have it both as an online and offline solution. Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, I've just heard that the picture was frozen.
Okay, I can see you, so
it's no problem. Okay, good. No, then
there's all green lights here, so let's hope it's at least it is recording it right. Yeah, I promise you.
Good. Okay, thank you.
No, I was just thinking that the companies that choose to have an inline solution for Docutrim, is that printing companies that have like a very specific need for a large volume of trimmed products, or because I'm asking because when I saw your presentation, I was thinking that, okay, this is, I mean, everybody needs to have a trimmed product, of course. But if you have a machine that is inline with this, it seems a little bit less easy for the printer to change over. If you have, let's say that you have a booklet maker that has already 3-knife integrated into it. I mean, so in what situation will you choose to have a Docutrim inline in your mind?
So inline, of course, also is mainly used by customer with only a few copies per job.
Okay.
Yeah. The digital printer inline, most is of course printed on demand. Yeah. Few copies only, and throughput time from, I don't know, few hours, to get the end product on a table. And yeah.
So that is a typical situation, because I was thinking that when you for example, said about transactional print, it makes sense, because unless you have something where you really have like a full-blown integrated solution for enveloping and things like that directly to your line, it makes sense to have them in trimmed products like the Docutrim is supporting. When you write graphic art, is it mainly for flyers, or is it so precise that you can use it for collating book blocks if you just have very short print runs of book blocks as well?
Yes, of course. We can collate book blocks, but we can also trim cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because of the high grammage.
Graphical arts. Yeah, of the grammage. So it can be used really versatile for book blocks, for, I don't know, calendars, and cards.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of applications. It's
really wide area,
right?
And that's why we have the two possibilities of offline, as we have seen with the customer Jordi. Yeah, he does a lot of different jobs, completely different jobs on this machine, and then for larger customer, which mainly use it inline connected with a printer. And then they are doing more or less similar jobs, but with other sizes, other formats, other trims, etc.
And as you said when we started this, or I actually asked you, it was like you have experience from cut sheet before. Is it something that you believe you will develop more into also in the future?
Yes, of course. Yeah. as we have seen the growth of the printers, during the next year, we expect there a really large business field in the future.
Must be nice working in Hunkeler and have great expectations for the future, right?
Yes, yeah. We need always to work on it and align our development schedule. And of course, we are looking forward to discussion with customers, because they help us also to develop the segments, to do the right things in the right time.
You mentioned also a few times, I can't remember, we call it the Generation 8, or because I mean, basically, if you look at Hunkeler, it has like, you have built like different generations of equipment. So can you very briefly talk about what is the 8th generation and what is the main difference from previous generations?
Good. This is mainly is a complete new generation of all modules which can be connected to each other. And of course, the main difference there is always the platform which changed, the electronical platform, so that it cannot be combined in any cases with the prior generations.
So that is like an entirely new platform, like when you, for example, see HP just announced a new platform. That is their foundation for a long time. So this is your generations for platforms for future. Okay.
This is a new generation, a foundation for the future. Some elements we can connect from all the generations, some not. But of course, this is mainly a platform, the new platform with state-of-the-art technology, state-of-the-art electronics, software, etc.
When you, as Hunkeler, meet customers, what do you think is the main demand for a modern print service provider today? I mean, is it speed, or is it quality, of course, or a combination, or is it also, I mean, you know, a lot of people talk about IoT and integration and workflow automation. Where do you see the biggest challenges for PSPs when it comes to the binding side of it, or the paper processing side?
I think at the moment it's all about automation of the line. Customer require fully automated equipment, of course, with all the interface to their equipment, to the printer, to the pre-press, to the post-press, to everything. But I think mainly it's more than speed, is the really fast setup time and really good quality of the output.
Also, when
and
you
then
say
the speed.
Sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, continue.
Please.
No, you do.
I know I've nothing to add to this at the moment.
Okay. No, I was. Sorry, it's this sometimes with the delays, but I was just thinking because the automation part of it. Because I mean, it seems that also when Hunkeler has a background in the transactional market, the integration to the printers is already there. Is it integration to other backend systems like MIS systems and other binding equipment? Is that what you talk about, integration? I mean, because Hunkeler has always been focusing on a very specific part of the finishing part, right?
Yes, of course. It's often required that we deliver some information out of our equipment, which can be implemented then by MIS systems of the customers. They normally have a leading system, and we do have to adapt that we can send all the data, the informations they want to have in this system. Sometimes it's about quality. They want to know if the sheet which enters leaves our machine, if it's ejected to make a reprint immediately, etc. These are all these functions where most of customers are asking for. And of course, there is a large range of zero integration up to fully integrated, depending on customers' needs and customer size.
Fantastic. Patrick, and also to Dominik, who just left, I just want to say thank you for your time here with Learn with us here at INKISH. I apologize for this, the tiny little issues that I was not focusing 100% in the beginning, but that is technology steals everything away from us, right? So I look forward to see you guys in Lucerne for the Hunkeler Innovation Days, and to shake hands and to see the equipment running and all those things. And I also want to appreciate and thank you very much for being part of the finishing line. So I wish you a very good day, Patrick, and thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. And Dominik is now here. You can see
Hey.
I asked before if the image was frozen because on his computer it wasn't running anymore. That's why I asked, and so it's now in my office.
Okay. I
But
think
thanks a lot. Yeah.
it was
for your
fun, and it was
for your presentation.
yeah, it was fun, and it was
And you-
very educational. So thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to see you
Okay.
at Innovation Days.
Bye, Dominik. Bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.